Cool. All right. And welcome everybody to another webinar. So we're coming up actually about 3 or 4 weeks away from our first year anniversary. So we have to do something fun about that. We have a third couple of weeks to figure out exactly what it is. But yeah, we're almost up to number 52. So that's pretty cool. Always fun. And in the meantime, we're going to get right down to business. So, I mean, for you guys that have just arrived here, first time around, questions are taken after assets, in between assets as I present my analysis. Again, this is just that, my personal analysis. I'm not recommending you buy or sell anything. Any trades you make, obviously, are at your own risk. Other than that, I will point out some things that I consider to be possible trading opportunities coming up, and some of the price action I expect to see this week. And I will pause for questions in between. Looks like Bob already has a question, so we'll take one of those. Bob, you have a question. It looks like you're in the queue, so turning on your mic, and if you have a question, go ahead.
No question, Joe. I just wanted to congratulate you in advance on your coming up anniversary.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get down to business. Here we go. I'm actually going to start with the dollar today. Because this is where I think most of the action is going to be coming this week, and it's just a higher time frame stuff. If we look carefully, about where we are, what we're looking at, so we've come into some really fresh demand down here on the weekly chart. It's a couple of years old, and it's time for it to to start to do its little trick here. So we a little bit took out this pivot down here. And we've landed inside this demand zone down here that is outside the bands on the weekly chart. Okay, and then down on the daily chart, we had this little dance going on over here over the past couple of days with the bears and the bulls. I mean, you could see that this is what's going on. Right? We had this big breakaway from this base over here, boom, 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 and then we come into this bottom over here, and then we get this little dance going on over here. Right? You see this little, okay, I gotta get this thing out of my face. I'm getting these little pop-ups for everybody that keeps joining the meeting. So little dance over here. You can see the selling, and then the buyers tried to take control. The sellers pushed them back. This was, after that, a gap up over here, right? So that was buying pressure. The sellers sell off, and they were able to push down into the bottom. And then we start to rally out. That's what the daily looks like. So there's a big fight going on down here, right, on the daily chart. And if you look down on the 240 chart, over here, we got a pretty nice looking bottom. Take a look how pretty this is. This is fantastic. I love it. Okay, so here's our push down into the bottom, right? And then we rally out, confirm the bottom. We get through up to the top of the supply over here. The sellers try one more time, engulfing candle, right down here. And then bang, we're out. So there's no more supply here at all. We're finished. So there's no doubt whatsoever. We're looking at 91.50. I would say is probably something to think about for this week. I think the leg up here is going to be violent. I think we're actually going to take out this level back here, and we probably end up somewhere over here over the next, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks. So a huge monster rally. First of all, above where we are. We're looking at double, triple bottom down here, the 240, and the middle back here already with no more supply. So this level here is a given. I mean, it's almost impossible that we don't reach that this week. And maybe a little pause and then some more rallying. I think over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're looking at a big, huge dollar rally. Okay, and that being said, so now we're going to go look at our other assets that are trading against the dollar, and you'll see that this little picture here is upside down on just about every asset we're going to look at. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's go take a look. In general, again, buying the pullbacks has been working, and it's still working. So we had another sell-off earlier in the week, and we recovered again. Okay, so as a matter of fact, the Dow and the ES at least closes new high again after this little push down over here, right? And then we recover right away, and then we make the new high and close the week at the highs again. So until we start breaking down again and making lower highs, there's just no chance to take shorts here. Just buy the demand, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Okay. ES on the lower time frame, so we have a little demand down under here. There's a level that can join. There's something over here. I like the one a little bit lower down, but again, we'd have to get there first. Something all the way down here. So there's just nothing bearish on these charts whatsoever. So please don't be short. Okay? Not smart at this point. Okay. And we'll wait. When it's time to be short, believe me, I'll let you know. It's not time yet, okay? All right, that's cool. I'm going to move on to NQ. I'm assuming nobody has a question here because there's just really nothing new over the last few weeks. So we keep saying is buy the pullback, buy the pullback, buy the pullback. And right now, that's still what we're looking at over here. NQ did make a new intra-week all-time high, but didn't get back there on Friday at the end. Actually, maybe it did. This is Friday. I'm sorry, it did. It did get up there and didn't close up there, right? And again, new highs. Again, look at the weekly chart. I mean, we're just, bullish. Nothing other than buy, pullback, buy, pullback, buy, pullback. There's really nothing there. If you have a question about one of the indexes, you can ask now. I'll whistle while I'm at it. 1 second, quickly. Some demand levels underneath that we can look at potentially joining for NQ. All right, just throw this over here and over here. There's nothing fantastic, but lately that's all it takes. Just a half decent zone is what it takes to get a new high. Okay. Let's look at the Russell for a second for the Russell traders, and it looks like it's the beginning of a flag breakout over here on the daily chart, right? A little bull flag. Definitely the continuation over here. We had the big push up last week, and then it looked like potentially a little sell off, and then we flipped it green at the end of the week. We made a new high back there. Intra-week, and sort of recovered back to the level. Didn't close up there, but again, still bullish, okay? And therefore, buy demand, buy demand, buy demand. That's all I'm going to say over here. I'm moving on. Anybody have a question, ask now. Otherwise, we're going to move into crude as soon as I find my cursor. There it is. All right, crude. There we go. Okay, so now we're starting to have fun, okay? Remember where we are on the higher time frames. We've, hit this fresh supply back there on the monthly. We hit the 200 moving average on the monthly. We finally, after I don't know how many weeks already now, 4 or 5 weeks, finally get a red candle on the weekly chart. The beginning of what's going to become a nice little reversal here. Right? On the other hand, a ballistic move up. Right? There's no demand, at least for this chart on a weekly level. The demand went all the way down here. So, of course, on lower time frames there'll be some stuff and looks like that. But from a weekly perspective, time to expect crude will be selling off. This is a very, very strong rally that we've had over here on the weekly chart. It's a rally, base, rally, base, rally, all the way up to here with a breakout without back testing any of these demand zones really at all. Okay, and therefore we should expect a pullback. Okay, where is it going to come? I would say, at least this week, I'm looking for at least 61, more likely 60. And, on the outside chance, could even be 58, depending on how harsh the sun is coming. But weakness for sure. That much I know. And therefore, we're looking for shorts. Okay? I'm looking at this level over here, and I see head and shoulders on the top of this 240 chart. And I'm sure most of you see it also. But, there's a ton of air underneath us. We've made this little shoulder up here, right here. And then the head's over here, this big thing over there, right up there. And this area, and then there's our other shoulder, there's our neckline, we banged into it, and look at all this, there's nothing here, zip, right? There's a little blip here around 6150, I think it was. I'll show you on a lower time frame over there, and that's it. After that, it's straight down. I think 60 is very possible, no issues getting down there. So $2-3 sell off this week. I think it's the beginning of the turn lower, and I think over the next few weeks we're going to see weakness in oil. So let's take a look on the lower time frames. Some levels we're looking at over here. So there's our little head and shoulders up there. It's held a couple of times. There's the demand underneath. The last time we rallied out, made a lower high. We hit it again. We pushed up again. And again, right at the end of the week, so we have a small little wedge over here on the 60. But again, you can't put a lot of weight on the Friday afternoon candles, but we're looking at this. So, where's the fresh supply? Well, there isn't really any anymore. We've hit it twice or 3 times. And more likely is that we just experiment a little bit, maybe over here someplace. And by next, I would say Monday afternoon, we're probably trading somewhere around here. This is the 6150 level I was talking about. I'll show you the zone. I'll zoom out a little bit. But this thing I don't think holds anymore. We're done with that. Hit it multiple times, and all we're doing is making these lower highs. Over here, you can see that. Therefore, that level should break, and we should be looking at a pocket of air that brings us down to 6150. Okay? All right, let's reduce this down a little, zoom out, take a look at the zone. That's what the computer wants to. There we go. Up there. All right, so there's where I'm looking. I mean, it's not the greatest. It's level on level. Right? There's something a little bit over here. around 61.80, and then I'm just picking up the bottom part of it over here. So that's where somewhere I would look around for, an opportunity to maybe, to look for a target as far as a shorter term exit. If you're a swing trader, I'd be getting short early this week and just walk away, come back in 2-3 weeks. If you're a little more of a shorter term trader, so you have to worry about these levels that are along the way over here. This question. Yeah, Bob, go ahead. Nope. Your mic's on, Bob.
Okay, Joe, do you see crude to be making a double top on the daily before heading down?
Let's go take a look over there. You wanted to say it's going to pop back up again before it... I think we already have the double top you're saying over here, I'm assuming. Let's take a look. All right. That's this thing over here. Oops. Sorry. Forgive my little discrepancies over here. I'm working on my laptop today. So this double top, I'm assuming, is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about getting up there again?
I'm talking about getting up again.
No, I don't think so. I think we already have the head and shoulders over here on this 240. It's finished. Right? We're done. We've had the back test over there. It's done. Yeah. We're making lower highs. We're done. We're ready to just sell off.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see that level again. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. All right. That's crude. Anybody else have a question? Oh, that must be Ingrid. I love anonymous Ingrid. Let's do an anonymous. How are you, honey? Am I right?
Hi. Can you hear me? It's Ingrid. Sorry. I always think I type my name in and it doesn't come up. I hate that. But initially, when I go in, I see Ingrid. I hope I can smell the beach. Hopefully, you're having fun down there, and I hear.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Quick question.
Great. Yeah.
On crude, I've been watching it and waiting, and last week I got in too soon at a 60-minute level and got burned up because it made that top, it made that head. Yeah. And it made the head.
Oh, this one up here. Yeah.
Yeah, up here.
So this one already has the lower high and lower lows. I mean, you're showing that one, right? The 60 is in a downtrend right now. So
right, but I'm talking about last week.
Yeah. Right. Over here, you got burnt on this.
Yeah, when it went back up, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But on the daily, do you see a hammer? Because the other person asked a good question. Maybe it will
let's go
up and do it.
You're looking at a hammer on the daily chart at. Let me just get there. I see a hammer, yes. Okay, so let's talk about this candle for a second. So, right, I'm going to bring this. I've mentioned this a few times before in the webinar. I'm going to bring it up again, okay? When we look at a candle that looks like this, right, where it's looking like this hammer candle, all right, this candle, by definition, seems on its own to be bearish, right, bullish, because we were at one time a big red candle, right, it was all the way down, and then we were able to push up and we closed almost near the highs, not at the highs, pretty much up there, showing buying pressure. Good? So far, so good, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at that candle, on its own and tell you, well, that's a bullish candle. And my answer is always the same. I disagree. It's not bullish until you get above here. Yes, there was buying pressure, but you know what? If those buyers don't get a continuation, the sellers actually take control of this market and will crush you. Why? Because the buyers that were here that push price up, if they can't finish their job and get to new highs, that means that they're not strong enough to overcome the selling pressure that's here already. And those sellers will smell blood, and they will just run over these guys. There's no more demand underneath this candle because it was used. And if they can't get any higher, this actually becomes extremely bearish, not just bearish, super bearish. So yes, when you look at this candle in a vacuum, on its own, it looks like there was buying pressure, but there's no bullishness here until we take out the highs. If we don't take out the highs, it becomes extremely bearish. Okay, so yes, I agree with you. Watch the highs of the candle.
Exactly. Hopefully it won't gap up tonight.
Right, so this is the high that you're looking at over here, back here, and that's the one you're watching for. So as long as we stay under here, that's this high candle right here, okay? As long as we stay under here, you're good, okay?
Sure.
That's right, Dennis. Yes, more effective at the bottom of a downtrend. He's right, okay? This could become one of those hanging man type things. The hammer is more effective at the bottom of the downtrend, especially when we start getting above that, Dennis. Yeah, all right. If this candle is all the way down here someplace, right? And then like this one is, right?
Right.
And then we start getting above. That's when you're going to start to get a better reaction. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't worry
sense.
about so much about what it looks like up there. Okay. As long as we stay below the highs, that's it. The sellers are in town. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. No problem. Anybody else have a question, or I'm moving on? We're moving on so far. Next. Okay. That's crude. Let's go take a look at gold. Okay. So now we're going to start to talk about this dollar reaction that I'm talking about for the last, few days or weeks that we're waiting for this to happen. Notice on the weekly chart, we finally get the first red candle after 5 weeks in a row of greens. Okay. So that is absolutely going to cause some, hopefully, continued high. And if we can get, it's a pretty tight range for a weekly candle. So if we can get underneath that thing, hell, yeah, we got a lot of fun coming. Okay, there is so much room underneath this gold on the higher time frame. Again, look under here, nothing. Okay, this lower high, if this is a lower high, we'll find out this week. But if it is, well, that should produce a lower low, and that means we're going underneath this 1240 level. This is what I keep talking about. We're going under this thing, somewhere down here. Okay? So back on the daily chart, we're looking at, that's this over here, that pivot on the weekly chart up there, that's that low down there. That means sell-off time. So yes, it'll take some time to develop. We're going to hit the higher, the levels over here. We're going to start to do like this. And the big selling will come under 1300. There's nothing over here. So, but, still, considering where we are, there's still $30 before we get to 1300. Excuse me. So we're looking at the potential for finally the lower high. We do have a double top up here. You can see it on the daily chart. Clearly double top here. There's the 240 double top. We start selling off. Right? We hit demand, and this right here hopefully stays in place as a lower high, and then we start to explore lower. Right? Okay, as I go down to the lower time frames, you'll see that there's more room underneath us. We've come really far, really fast. The dollar has got a bottom. It's time for gold to get locked. Not only that, I mean, if you throw in the bonds on top of it, right, with the massive sell-off that went on towards the end of last week, which I'm going to do in a second. I'm going to jump to bonds right after this. There's no reason that the sell-off in gold didn't start, and it's going to pick up pace in a wicked way. I wouldn't be surprised we lose $50 this week in gold. I don't know. So I know I've been saying it for a week or two, but this is it. It's done. We're finished. Here's our double top. There's our lower high in the 60. There's the lower low. We're in the downtrend. There's another lower high. Okay, they're trying to still fight this thing off, but that's it. It's looking to me like we're done. And where's the next level of demand? It is $20 down at least on 60, something like that. I think it was around 1310 or something. Yeah, there it is. This first fresh demand zone, even on the 60 chart, is looking to come around 1310, 1311. They're $20 down, $2,000 plus on a per contract. This wick over here, hit demand, and therefore under that, this is already lower highs. Over there, that breaks, and where's the fresh demand? It's all the way under here. Okay, so there's a massive sell-off coming over here. When I talk about the correlation to bonds, well, bonds and gold don't like each other, and lower bond prices, which means higher interest rates, right? And gold don't like each other. Higher interest rate means you don't need to go buy gold. You put your money in the bank. Right? We know that if you're a bond trader, you know what happened to bonds over the last week. Okay, with the interest rates spiking. I mean, look at this wicked, massive sell-off coming over here on the weekly chart. I pointed this trade out to you guys last Sunday. I hope some of you took it. It was a big-ass winner. We were watching this flag being formed over here on the daily, and we picked out a zone on the little 15-minute supply chart, and it was perfection. It just collapsed. Coming down into fresh demand over here, and, the gold didn't have this big sell-off. Okay? And therefore, it's going to play catch-up. It's time for it to start selling off, and I would not be surprised, again, if we have a wicked sell-off in gold this week. While I'm here, I might as well show you the level I was talking about. I hope some of you traded that thing. Where was it? It was a 15-minute supply zone, I think we had marked off. It was really, really clear. It's the top one, believe it or not. I'm going to zoom out and show you the zone. This is the reaction to the zone over here. The zone was actually drawn out last Sunday. It was in the webinar. You can go check it out. This one over here. And that is the reaction. That's not the zone we had drawn. Let's go show the zone. And back in time. That's his. That's our zone up there. Sorry. That's the one we traded. 151 and change. It was 4 ticks wide. And that's the beginning of this massive sell-off. So anyway, now that the bonds are collapsing, that means interest rates are rising. And let's just talk about this over a higher time frame for a second. Okay, so the sell-off of bonds, we'll get a follow-through in gold this week. And what are we looking at? Over the let's call it the next, I want to say 2 or 3 months. Bigger picture stuff for bonds. We're going to see continued selling. As the rates increase, we're breaking away from this range of prices over here, right? And we know that they're all talking about raising their interest rates and all that fun stuff. Coming into some higher time frame demand, it's going to take us over. I don't think it's going to happen right away. But over the next 2 or 3 months, we'll end up in here. And by then, what's going to happen is the Fed, ECB, BOJ, are all going to start to realize that, oh, crap, you know something? We can't have interest rates this high. We owe too much freaking money. There's no way we can afford to pay interest on our debt at those kind of interest rates. And they're just going to have to reverse course. So I'm not sure how far this is going to fall just yet, where it's going to happen. But I would say over the next, I don't think it's going to take more than 3 or 4 months until they realize that they're up the freaking creek. And they're going to have to start cutting back. So they'll find a reason to do that, but keep that in the back of your mind. For now, it's shorts all the way on the bonds, which is shorts for golds, and that means everything that's trading against the dollar is inflation time. Okay? Thank you, Dennis. Everything is inflation. Okay, so we're over the next 2 months, we're looking at the price of the dollar getting really, really strong. So take a look over here where we're looking at. We're looking at gold. All right, so let's go to euro. Okay, so the euro is topping out, no question about that. It looks exactly like the dollar upside down, and there we get our little double top over here. Take a look. Okay, there's supply. There's the look at head and shoulders up there. Looks like on the 240. Look how much air is underneath us over here. Next level of demand, easily 120, no question about it. Look at the daily chart. Right, there's our little supply. This has got lower highs over here, and we've got no air. There's nothing. We cleaned out whatever's here already. It's finished. So there's just air sitting under here. This thing is deaf. It's going to come to this so fast. Euro is going to collapse overnight. And as soon as I'll tell you what's going to happen. The minute the U.S. announces that the government is open, the euro is going to hit 121 minimum, right here, minimum. Later in the week will be even lower than that, but that's just going to be immediate. The dollar is going to explode. The euro is going to die, gold's going to die, and then boom, everything starts. After that, all the fun's going to start. Okay, so once they make that announcement, which I'm expecting to have by morning time, that's what we're going to see. Okay, so be very careful if you have any currency positions open. Make sure you're protecting yourself, because there's going to be a wild ride when that happens. So far, from what I've seen, the vote is scheduled for 1 a.m. Eastern time tonight. Okay. Fine. All right, euro on the lower time frames, I'm looking for a big sell-off. Okay, we've already rallied up. We started to make these lower high, lower lows over there on the 60, right? There was a lower high, lower low back here, and then we rallied back up again, but the level still held, right? This thing over here was our high earlier in the week, and then we rallied here, then we made the lower low under there, turned this into a little bit of a downtrend, and then we get this little, sideways action back testing, and then the level holds again, and we turn over again, which means we're coming here back again with lower highs in our face. The level doesn't break. It's going to break down. We'll pause a little over here. This is where the real demand is. So I think the news event that's coming, that brings us straight down into that demand. Boom. We'll get a bounce out of that and probably back test one of these levels over here that we're going to slice right through. It's another little nugget of trading advice. I will tell you that if we crush levels that are there and we don't stop, the next level down is very likely to back test that zone. Okay? So even though it was traded through, don't think it's gone yet. It actually just turns from a demand zone into a supply zone, and you trade this as a short when you get back here. Okay? So if we do slice through these zones, which I'm pretty sure we will, This demand zone over here is pretty strong. It's really nice. It had prior highs. It's a nice big leg in. It's a strong base. It's a big leg out. That will produce a bounce, and it's likely to backtest probably this zone over here. So keep that in mind for some possible trades over the next couple of, I would say, hours. I'm going to start tonight. Okay, that's cool. Anybody have a question? Nobody. Let's go. Cool. Euro's done. Let's go with JY. Okay. JY is showing us. There it is. So a little more strength this week. I have to say when I got it wrong. I thought I got wrong totally this week. JY expected the sell-off to even come last week. I thought we were not going to hold this demand zone. Not only did we hold it, we actually took out the pivots and ended up all the way up here, somewhere I didn't even imagine we were going to see. So yeah, can't always be right. But that being said, we have begun the topping process, at least over here on the 240 chart, right? There's our high. There's the sell-off into demand, and now what's looking to be potentially the lower high over here, right? So it's not complete yet, and we'll have to wait and see it. But I think what we're going to see over here is the you know, that ERC and then the Harami, and then we're going to get the red candle on the other side of this weekly chart, and just start to reverse out of this thing and retrace this whole rally up over here. So we'll have to see if that plays out. But that's what I'm looking at so far. Again, with the dollar strength, I'm looking for weakness in the yen. It looks like the supply up here on the 60 chart really held, like, I don't know how many times this freaking zone is working. It's, you know, downtrend over here and a head and shoulders on the 60, right? The head is up here. Look how many times this level worked. The origin of the zone is here. We hit it once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles. I don't know how many times we hit this freaking zone, and it's still working. Okay, we have a really nice head and shoulders up here. This demand zone under here produced a lower high, so that shouldn't really do much. And again, we start rolling over and looking for a weakness in the yen. Okay, so we'll have to see where exactly the best entry is, because we've hit the supply so many times, and depending on where we open tonight, we'll have to watch for something. But shorts yen, okay? Short for yen this week. Target, I would say, let's go back to the 240, and I saw I wanted to show you back there on the 240 chart. Yen 240 is right there. Yeah, so I mean that's really where I'm looking at. You know, a level here where we're gonna hit this thing. I would say this right over here, right at 9,000, right at 9,000, and then we should get a little bounce, create a little bounce up a little shoulder, and then eventually end up down here. So for now, the target I would say is looking to be like probably around 90,000, right around that. Okay, so that's a yen short for this week. So far we're talking about euro short, yen short, gold short, crude short, only index long so far that we've seen. We're about to get to another one. Okay, so whoever's been trading that gas with me over the last week so should be really pleased. That gas has been kicking butt. We've been calling tops and bottoms all week long, and I think we're done with the last pullback again. It's time for the next leg up. The next leg up is the one that I'm going to sort of step back after that. Once we hit the 3.4, hands down for a little while. I'm not sure which way it's going after that, but I'm pretty sure that is where we're going. It's just, you know, just above, you know, this supply zone that we've already hit, and pull back and start to make higher lows again. I mean, over here we've got a nice looking flag on the daily chart. You know, we rallied up and we hit the supply, and then we're retracing over here. So the demand so far is still holding. Sound is no good. You guys can't hear me? You guys hear me? Somebody said type some sound in there. I don't know. Sound is good. Thanks, Dennis. Okay, cool. So, you know, for now, I'm still long, and we're looking for one more leg up in that gas. I took it back long again. I tweeted it out on Friday, right before the freaking thing exploded again. So anyway, what we're looking at over here is higher lows again. And again, you can see it right over here. This was here we sold off, right there. There's a higher low again, and then we push back up. And then again, Friday afternoon, I never give a lot of weight to those candles after that. It's just done. So I would think, you know, we're looking at a gap up in that gas. So my play is like this. I'm still long from Friday. We gap up anywhere into the 3-4 range. We've already cleared out this little gap that was here from back when. We cleaned that part out, produced a pullback, and it made a higher low after that. So that thing is gone. I'm pretty sure we're looking at a gap up. We had a gap down last week, which is an anomaly over the last month. But there's that last week's gap. This one is going to be a gap up. If we hit 3.4, I'm done. I'll be closing my longs, and I'll reassess what it looks like in the morning after that. If we don't get there yet, I'll still sit through my long. That's the target for now. Once we get there, all bets are off. Okay? I don't know what happened after that. Okay? So there's that gas. It's long into 3.4, and then, stay tuned for an update later in the week after that, what to expect. Let's pull up the level over there, and you can see I'm looking at this thing over here on the daily chart. So this was the little gap thing that we had on the lower time frame that you could see we touched, and then the 3.4 is basically this area up here. Okay? It's right over here. And that's it. Once we get up there, I don't know. Okay, how deep is the pullback? Is there? That's enough for me. I've been taking it low since down here. So that's the level I'm looking for. Once it comes, I'm out. Okay. That's my net gas speech. I'm going to move on if someone has a question. Okay, cool. Let's see what the rest of the currencies again are trading against the dollar. So expect weakness coming on the charts. The Aussie dollar is still very, very green on the weekly chart. Okay, big rally up. Daily chart finally showing a little bit of an inverted hammer at the top of the move. Okay. And now we'll have to see if we get a continuation over here or not. Right? We don't really know. I'm not showing too much weakness yet, but I'm expecting weakness to creep on the chart because, again, dollar strength is coming. Okay? And therefore, if I have to pick a direction, I'm looking for a short. There's a pretty decent looking level over here. It looks really small for anybody that wants to try a Euro, Aussie short. I'd be looking right here. Right here. Looks like a right around 80.20. That's the spot. So level on a 60 looks like this. Right? Okay. And that's Aussie. If you have a question, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going. Can't wait to get down to the beach. Sit on the balcony over there, wind blowing. My hut is calling me, baby. You had a pretty good short on Aussie on the 15 on Friday. Let's go look at that for a second. I'm not trading Aussie on Friday. Okay, I see what you did right here. I'm assuming this is the level that you meant. Right here. Right there. That's the entry. Not bad. Okay, cool. Let's look at pounds. So pounds, we were talking about that big explosive move last week, which we did get. The big pop, that's the one. Oh, nice. That both beautiful. So the big explosive move came. I think we hit the 1.3. If you remember, I was talking about the 139.50 around 1.4 as our top for last week, and there it was. Bingo. We hit our supply zone, and then we back tested it, and then we double topped. Now we're retracing. And that combined with the dollar weakness is telling us, shorts to come for the pound this week. Expect a little bit of a sell-off coming here. Let's go take a look at it. And there's the pop that came on the 139.50 or so, right over here. Oops, pen. Right here. Right, you can see it, that one. And then we back tested, and then we double popped. And now the big sell-off, and now we're starting already. You can see the lower high right here. There's a turn right there, bingo, right? And now we've got air under us. Look under here, nada, under here, right? You can see that this is turning over, and weakness creeping onto the charts. Where are we going this week for the pounds? Let's go take a look. I say the target that we're looking at over here on the downside for pounds, right around 137.50. Okay, that's what we're looking at, right down here. And 240 demand. Chad, in and out on the push. It's okay. So looking at this as our demand zone, that's our target for the week for euro pounds. Down into that zone. Okay. Cool. Alrighty, let's go look at Canadian, and then we'll do copper and call this session. So the Canadian on Friday gave a really engulfing candle over there. Right here, that's bearish engulfing. It's got a double top. Need I say more? Take a look at the weekly chart. We're at the supply zone. We've got weekly reds going on over there. On the 240, I see a head and shoulders. Here's our shoulders. There's two shoulders here. We got a little head up here. There's the other shoulder. We're already turning over. We've got air underneath us. There's no fresh demand. Should I keep going? Which way is this going? It ain't going up. Okay, so this thing is selling off for sure. The demand under here is the middle of a double top. So for my rules, the middles don't hold when we come to a double top, which means we retrace the origin of the move. That brings me right back down to here. That's what we're looking at. We should break through this thing, right? We may get a little bounce on a lower time frame, but with this level should break. It's the middle of our double top, and the origin is way down here. So there's a pretty nice shortcoming for Canadian over here. And again, making sense with the dollar strength that we're looking at and the crude weakness that we're looking at, right? That Canadian should be selling off. So you guys got a bunch of Canadian friends. You know, you had a nice little run. It's time to give some of it back. Okay? There's our 60. You can see the lower highs coming on the chart and the lower low. This thing is turned over into a downtrend. And again, fresh demand is not anywhere to be seen. Okay, all these wicks down here, all this crap, and we're way, way down. Okay, so we're talking about a really nice pullback coming for Canadian. Okay? So get ready, Canadian shorts this week. Okay, copper shorts. Love this. Okay, this is the corrective move of an uptrend, basically. Right. So we have copper on the weekly chart is in an uptrend. And you can see that over the last couple of weeks, we started to show the weakness with the little bearish candles coming on the chart, right? And then now we've got this this week's candle coming and showing up as like this engulfing candle, right? We had the twins 3 weeks ago, and then last week we got the little harami, and then we get the engulfing and turning it over. So that looks like this on the daily chart with the lower high basically coming on, right? Over here, and this was a find my mouse. There we go. Okay. There's the 10. And we're looking at this lower high right here. Right, see it? There are twins. Right there. Into the down. We turned around. We tried to rally. Couldn't do it. Then we turn over. And boom. There's the weakness coming on the chart. There's the lower highs, lower lows. We've turned into a downtrend over here. The 240 is selling off. And this demand zone over here that we've hit twice already produced a lower high, which means it's not going to hold. We're going to land inside this thing probably tomorrow or tonight. Copper has sometimes violent moves on Sunday nights right at the open. So we'll take a look at that. But for now, short's the way to go. Okay, this level is not going to hold, and we end up somewhere down here. 3,100, I would say, is the next target. You can see that that's where the really nice demand is sitting. It's where the prior highs are. And here, right, looking at this, and then the demand that was formed as we took that out over here. That's our demand zone, and that's our target for copper. I'm right in there. Yeah, you want to look at soy? Okay, so I'll look at soy too. No problem. All right. Okay, let's go take a look at soy. So we're looking for shorts on copper, and we're looking at a 3,100 basically target. Okay. And we did the bonds already, and I'm thinking there. Let's take a look at soy. So soy over the last 2 or 3 weeks has been going sideways, right? And it sort of had this little bottom pattern down here, okay? We had an inventory last Friday, I think it was not this Friday, but Friday before. And then we had a little nice pop right here, right? And we hit this fresh demand, and it's like a double bottom now, right? Right down here, we're like a double bottom at 947, and we're looking at a middle over here, and we're looking at the supply that's already been hit right here. This level, this inverted hammer here, has hit the supply. You can see it, it's our 240 level. And I think at this point, if you're looking for a trade, it's probably a long, and the demand week is sitting in this level right here. This is where you're looking to join a trade. You want to see it back trace, you want to see it hit this thing, because look here, there's no selling pressure whatsoever off the bottom. We're selling off, we hit demand, and we get a rally-based rally. No lower high, no higher low yet. Which means there needs to be a higher low in order for trend to change. Right? And therefore, I think what we're looking for soy is a hit of this 954, and then a hold this level, and then you can get low. That's what I would tell you to do. Okay? Yeah, we'll go look at the 60-minute chart in a second. 7268, David is saying. Okay? Let's go take a look. 60 soy coming in at, so there's our supply zone. That's working really nicely. 65, 63. Let's go look at it. Okay, where's the app? So this, no. This is the level you're looking for. Okay? You want to join the long, that's the level. Okay? This is what you're looking for. You're going to drop into this sucker. Okay, you can see how powerful this zone is. Right? There's probably another one under here, 40-something, and back into here. But I'd be weary if this doesn't react. And if we get a nice push down into the zone, that's where you're looking to join activity. This is a swing trade we're talking about. Anybody have any other questions in the meantime? Okay, so that's it for today. I'm getting down to put my feet in the sand. I'll be back on Wednesday morning for anyone who's part of the expanded program. Otherwise, I'll see you all next Sunday. Everyone have a great time. Have a good week trading. And I'm still around if anyone has questions. You can send me an email, stuff like that. All the best, guys.